class Flowering Plants for Four Seasons presentation. I'm Rochelle Levan, the Landscape Success Program Chair with the Fort Bend County Master Gardeners. Our online program was created by the Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service in Fort Bend County, along with the Fort Bend County Master Gardeners, to help you create and maintain beautiful home landscapes. All registrants will receive a follow-up email with a recording of the class, as well as links to websites or resources that our presenter may refer to. Also, at the end of the class, a QR code will be included, and we'll ask that you fill out the survey so that it helps us in creating our future classes. It'll also be included in a follow-up email that you'll receive as well after the presentation. The feedback is very important to us. So again, if you will fill that out when you get that, we would appreciate it. If you have any questions during class, please enter them into the group chat. The questions will be answered during the presentation or at the end of the class. Also, if we have any disruptions in our group chat, we will remove that person and proceed to delete any inappropriate comments. So bear with us if that occurs. So today, I have the pleasure of welcoming our presenter, Suma Mudan. Suma is a passionate gardener. She moved from the East Coast and became a master gardener to learn about Southern gardening. She decided to quit her law practice to pursue her passions. Suma has been a master gardener for over 10 years. She has advanced training in Texas Superstar plants. Her passion also led her to become a garden designer, and she loves to find unique and native plants for her clients. Her other hobbies include world travel, sharing and educating about essential oils for health, teaching yoga for specific ailments, pursuing all things beautiful for wellness. She believes in the adage, self-care is the best healthcare. So Suma, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rachel, and welcome everybody for today's talk. If you have attended this in the past, I have changed a few things. If you are new to this, I'm sure you will have a lot of information that you can use in your own gardens. You are free to take pictures of the slides, but one of the most important slide will be at the end of the presentation. So that I will pause and you can definitely take a picture because that will be a useful reference. So let's talk about how can we have color, blooming plants in our garden all the 4 seasons. Rachel mentioned I moved from East Coast, and one of the main reasons I moved is because there the season would start on Memorial Day, around Memorial Day, and end with Labor Day. Rest of the months, there's nothing to do. So I wanted to do more gardening, and here we can garden all year long in spite of the freezes. So let's see how that can happen. So this is what most of my clients, my friends tell me because of the last few years, we are having freezes every year. And they say, oh, all my plants died. There's nothing in my garden. And today I'm here to prove and encourage most of you to try different things so you can go from here possibly to here. So it may not be as lush as this, but all these plants are in my garden right now and you can have them. And these are like winter bloomers. So you can see, you can also read the names, and these are all tested to grow here. They're very hardy. And the only thing is if the temperature goes to teens, then you may have to cover a few plants. Otherwise, they're hardy, they'll come back, and especially with the last freeze, everything came back nice. So this is where you want to go. Texas A&M has 2 main programs that helps the homeowners when they're thinking about their gardening, when they're starting to design their landscape or work with their landscaper. So these are the 2 main programs that will help you pick those plants that not only survive but thrive here in our Fort Bend County, Houston area. And even if you are not living here in Houston, these will be still relevant to you, especially in Texas. And out of Texas, you may have some plants as annuals, depending on your zone. Otherwise, there's still relevance. But for us, this is proven. Like you can't go wrong with it. So Earthkind Landscaping teaches us to follow the fundamental things to make our gardens thrive, whereas Texas Superstar Plants gives us the right plants to grow in this right environment. And I'll share the screens in a little while to show you how these programs will help you. But what are let's start from the beginning. So what are the basic 3 rules that can either make or break your garden? Again, I hear this many times when people say my garden, like nothing is working and everything has died on the freeze. So these are the things that you need to keep in mind. The first thing is very important. Right plant, right place. So as we go through the talk, you will understand which plants work better here. And then, so once you have the right plant, right place meaning, is it sun plant? Is it shade plant, partial shade or partial sun, or spacing? How much the plant is going to grow? Like, is it going to like grow 3 feet wide or 5 feet height? So you need to keep all those things in mind before you buy plants, before you plant plants. The second rule that makes your garden beautiful is think in layers. So don't just buy plants, bring plants, and then put them as globs like in various places in your garden bed. Visualize how these plants look, what is their full growth area, and how do they look in your bed. Like, are they going to be tall, medium tall, or short? So you need to think on those layers. Then you can create the second slide we saw. You can create that lush landscape. It doesn't necessarily have to be too dense, but it will create more visual appeal. And then the third rule for you to be able to have color throughout the seasons is you need to plan for succession. So you have plants in spring and you need to think, okay, these plants are going to be done in spring. So what am I going to replace it with? So you already need to plan the second step. And if you will see in some of the slides how you can do that. So these are the 3 things. And if you want to take a picture, you can do that. So these are the basic things that will help you when you're planning to have blooms throughout the year. So right plant, right place. Let's talk about this. Wrong placement. So this is petunias, and petunias are very popular, and now they have so many different color combinations, and it is really very interesting. But look at this petunia, it's all wilted because um, initially in spring it will be fine because the sun is not that hot. Even if we are like 80 degrees, it's still not that hot. But as the sun progresses, as the seasons progress, it's going to suffer in full sun. So think about that and move it. If you are putting it in like full sun in spring, try to move the plants to part shade in peak summer. And the second picture shows you what happens when you plant a shade plant, a plant that loves shade in full sun. So it's all, the leaves are all brown and it is drying and it cannot take that full sun. So you need to keep that in mind. So now right plant, right place. So this is the right placement. Lantana loves and thrives in full sun. You can plant it in part shade. It will not bloom as lushly as this. And also lantana is also a great pollinator. It attracts bees and butterflies. So you want to put it closer to your edible gardens and it will spread. So you also need to think about the spacing, but it thrives in full sun. So, and Aspidistra is a shade plant. So you can see the filtered shade here, and it is, look at how lush the green leaves are. So if you put the same plant in sun, it's going to look like the previous picture. So think about that, right plant, right place. And now let's talk about the layers. So I mentioned layers, and here you see all the plants are almost in the same level, and except for the ones near the foundation. So it doesn't create that visual appeal, and it doesn't create that lushness. So you need to think about back of the border, back of the bed, middle of the bed, and front of the bed. And look at this. So same plants, all these plants are Texas Superstar plants. So all the plants that I picked are Superstar plants. They will thrive here. They will do very well here. And you can see the front layer is shorter. It starts with the shortest with the sedum, and then it grows a little taller with the coreopsis. And then in the middle, we have the salvias, and you have so many different kinds of salvias, and coneflower is a backbone of our gardens. And in the back, if you want more taller plants, you can do the Yupon holly or crinum lilies. So they all are meant for this area, and you cannot go wrong with it. So when you plant again, look at how we combine the colors. So there is a spread of color, there's a mass of color. So this will create that impact. So think about that as well. And rule number 3, plan for succession. So a lot of us use bulbs in spring, and of course you plant them in fall, or you have planted a few years ago. They come back. They're the first ones to come back in early spring here for us. As soon as the freeze is over, a week or two later, we see the bulbs emerging. So I have a lot of daffodils in my garden, and daffodils come up first, and they bless us with this beautiful, cheerful flowers. But then what happens after 4 weeks? They are done blooming, and you can see the flowers are faded here, and but the leaves are still there. So you have to leave the leaves. You cannot cut the leaves back, because the bulbs need those leaves to get the food nutrition through the leaves, so the bulbs can grow and multiply next year. So you need to plant succession. So what do you want to plant in front of these leaves that have no other role? So you need to think about that. So the Houston Solution foliage cover, you can use any of these, see the pentas or any of them, to plant in front of this dying foliage. And this salvia is like retiring, and then the cornflowers are taking over. So you need to plan for succession. That's a must. If you want to have color in 4 seasons, that's a must. So let's talk about the basics again, and I'm sure several of you know this already. So we have perennials which come back year after year, and either they come back from the roots, that means the foliage dies, but the new plant comes from the roots, or they may be evergreen, they don't even die, or they may self-seed. So there's larkspur which self-seeds, so you may get uh, plants next year, even though you don't see it. So those are the perennials. And perennials, we need to have a lot of perennials, and there are several Texas Superstar plants that are perennials, and these are the ones that give you that backbone. They're almost permanent, and you want to have those to do the long haul. And then you can add annuals if you want more color. It's still a challenge to have something colorful throughout the year, but it is totally doable, and you will understand by the end of this talk. So imagine, like, it's July, August. It's so hot, so humid, and you step into the garden, you venture into the garden, and you will still see something blooming. And same thing in December, January, even when we have freezes, or before the freeze or after the freeze, you still are able to see some color. So those are really, really so satisfying to have in our gardens. So between Earthkind and Texas Superstar websites, you will find lot of resources, lot of tools. I will walk you through quickly, one, and how you can select the right plants. For your location, you can put your zip code, or you can put your address, or you can make it as specific or as generic as you want. So you can find the right plants for your location. For the season, is this going to bloom in spring, summer, fall, or winter? And also growth habit. Is it going to be tall, or is it going to be medium, or is it going to be really low level? So you can put all those parameters, all those filters, and you can find the right plant for your space, your garden. So this is the EarthKind website of Texas Aggie Horticulture. And when you go here, you click on this EarthKind landscaping. And then you get to this screen, and here you can click on search the EarthKind plant selector. So this is, I cannot tell you how useful this tool is for a home gardener. And then when you click on that, it will ask you, do you want by zip code or do you want by region? So our region is F, I think, yeah, F, Houston. So you have, Texas is very big. It's 1,000 miles across and up and down. So it has zone 6 to zone almost 10, the Rio Grande Valley. So there are all these zones. There are some plants that are perennial for us. Those same plants will be annuals up north. So you can search by your region, and you decide which way you want to search. So once you click on that, you will get to this screen. So I have to give you one caution. If you put too many filters, you may not get enough results. So play with this, play with like you can say common name hibiscus, or habit or plant use. I want full sun, I want partial sun, shade, flower color. So if you put the flower color, it's going to be very restrictive. But you can do bloom periods, spring, summer, fall, winter. This is how you create your lists. So spend like an hour or two on this, between this and Texas Superstars, and before you go to the nursery. So because once we go to the nursery, we are pulled, we are so tempted to buy those sexy looking plants, and we don't have enough time to research when we are in front of the plant. So do your homework before you go to the nursery, before you're yielding to your temptations. And then you can, I'm not saying don't buy in something that's like you really, really like. Please do. I do it all the time. But to have the backbone, first get these plants that do really well, and then you can play with your garden a little bit more. Okay. So once you put all your requirements, then you click generate pick list. And because we didn't put any filters, not many filters, we got 223 results. So we can go through this, and I'll just give you one example. So this is Turk's cap. And if you are not familiar with Turk's cap, we'll learn about it soon. So this is, once you click on the plant, this is what you will get. This is the screen. So it will give you the description and plant habit. Is it perennial, ground cover, small shrub? So you can decide which location in your garden you want to plant this, if you want to plant this. So this plant will survive sun, partial sun, shade, anywhere, flower colors, blooming period, spring, summer, fall. It's a workhorse. And then it has red berries. And then the height is 3 to 8 feet. So remember that. So if you want to keep it short, you keep pruning it. And if you keep pruning it, maybe you will lose the blooms. So you have to think about all these things. And then width, 2 to 6 feet. So if you have an area in your garden, a corner that you have utilities and you want to cover the utilities, this is a great plant to have there, because it grows very fast, it covers, and you have blooms, and hummingbirds love it. So it's a great plant. So now let's come to this EarthKind index. It's 10. So it's 10 out of 10. That means this will work well anywhere, any condition, in any garden. But also keep in mind, when it is 10 out of 10, it is also very hard to kill. So if you don't want it, it's very, very hard to get rid of it. And it also sends suckers, so you may see more plants throughout your garden, which of course you can share with your friends, but still you need to keep that in mind. You cannot just pull it out. It's not easy. It's a very hardy plant. So hardiness zones 8 to 11. So we are 9B, and it does extremely well here. So that is how you look for your plants in a plant selector. So now we come to Texas Superstar plants. So they keep adding new plants every year, at least one or two. This is a program that's about 40 years old. It's a research program that's done by Texas A&M, and these plants are tested to grow here throughout Texas. Mostly they are perennials, and if you go up north, they may be annuals. But again, here, this is your second level of research. So look here, um, and so it also says these are the plants for earth kind landscape. So once you provide the good soil, good water, good light, and all those things, then you come to the plants. So these plants do extremely well, and we will go through several of these plants, and you can make a note, or you can go to this website, and I'm sure they're posting the website links in the chat, maybe. So you can go there and do your research. So Texas Superstars, for every spot in your garden, whether you want a vine, whether you want a colorful plant, whether you want shade plant, whether you want a shrub, a tree, small tree, or big tree. So anything, if you want, first try these plants, because these are, and I have most of these plants in my garden. So I'm talking out of experience. I've done this class 10 years back. As soon as I became a master gardener, the second thing I did was train in Texas Superstar plants. So I still have all those plants from those 10 years back. And I keep adding ones that I don't have. I keep adding them more. So you cannot go wrong, and you will be really blessed with blooms throughout the year. So here again, it will tell you, is it deer resistant? And some of the neighborhoods have a lot of deer. And how much water? I believe I just heard that we are getting into the drought zone now because no rains. So most of the plants, 80% of the plants are medium water use, like, the two. There are very few, I don't remember seeing anything with high water usage. So it will tell you all this. And then it will tell you annual, but annual, I'll take it with a pinch of salt, because annuals most of the times are behaving like perennials for us, and shrubs, trees, specialty plants. So you can pick what you need from this list. So now coming to seasons. We are in spring and we all have spring fever. So all the nurseries are loaded and everything looks very colorful, and it's so easy to plant in spring because we have much higher selection of plants. And this is we have, we all know in Houston, like, we have very, very finicky weather. One day it can be spring, the next day it can be summer, and the third day it can be winter. So we need to be prepared for all those changes in the weather. But all these plants do well in changing weathers. But spring is very easy because it's typically for us, like, it's March to late May. And summer is May to September, and there is no fall, in my opinion. But so-called fall is September to December, and winter December to late February. So these are the seasons for us, unlike other parts of the country. And then think about the plant heights. I talked about this, front, middle, and back of the beds. And think about watering and light needs. So some plants like turf's cap don't need much water. So don't plant that with another plant that needs more water. And light, don't plant a sun plant along with a partial sun plant together. So think about these things. So if you follow these basic guidelines and basic rules, your garden will thrive, and you will have, of course, I'm not saying that even in trees you will have like lush plants, but they will be still plants standing around in your garden. There'll be still blooms in your garden before and after the freeze. So that's guaranteed. So other things to consider, spacing. And I'm sure you did this. I definitely did it. As a beginner gardener, as an experienced gardener, also I did it. So we are reluctant to see gaps in our beds. So we want to see them full and lush, and we plant. We plant more than we are supposed to plant. So in space of planting one plant, we plant three plants. So, what happens? The plants grow up and they start jetting into each other. So, especially for roses, roses need air circulation. If not, because of our humidity, they get fungus, they get a lot of diseases. So, you need to give space for the plant to grow into its natural shape or natural habitat. If you want to keep the plant pruned, you can do that. But again, like I mentioned before, you may be losing buds and blooms if you keep pruning it. So keep spacing in mind. It's okay. Please live with that gaps, with that, bare bald spots in your garden for a few weeks, and these plants will grow up. The other option is if you're planting perennial plants, and if you see too much gap, you can plant some annuals in between, because annuals, they have short life, but these plants perennials will still have their space. So think about that. Think about the future growth potential. If it says it's 3 by 5, 3 feet height and 5 feet width, that is going to happen. So give that space to that plant. Air circulation, I talked about it, and light penetration. So this you may see a lot of times with with shrubs like boxwoods. So if the boxwoods are dense on the top and the sun is not going through the dense leaves, the bottom starts becoming like sticks because it's not getting the sun. So think about that light penetration. So you may have to either bottom prune the plant, or you need to plant something that is not that dense. So habit, is it upright or is it bushy, like you want something that's nice and bushy, or spreading? So do you want something that spreads? So you have to think about giving it space to, like salvias, they spread a lot, and they are the most bang for your buck, because you get salvia, they are so beautiful, they are magnets for bees and butterflies, and such a nice attractive colors. So many salvias are there, and they spread. So next year, dig them up, plant them somewhere else in your garden. So you keep that in mind. Vining, does it need support? Does it need a trellis? Does it need something else, an obelisk? So think about what it needs. And some plants, maybe you can, if you have big trees, you can do it around the bark, but I wouldn't, unless they're shade plants, I wouldn't advise that. So you need to think about these things. So buying the plant is not the first thing. Doing all these things before you buy the plant will ensure that you are successful. Soil and mulch. So soil, once gardening is not a cheap hobby. It is an expensive hobby, but think about it like this. So once you invest in good soil 1 year, you don't need to add soil every year. It will stay for a few years, and then you can mulch the plants in the next years. And some plants need different kinds of soils, like acidic soils, like roses, azaleas, camellias, blueberries. So they need different kind of soil. So please provide the plants what they need and give them the head start so that they will thrive. And hanging baskets, don't use the same potting soil because it's very heavy. Use more perlite or add something that will make the soil more porous. And the caveat is it's going to dry out much sooner. So you need to have either pull the drip feeder to the hanging baskets, or you need to hand water. So it's up to you. So think about like how can I make this work better? So fertilizing, we all need food and plants need food. So unless we give them some food, there are not many plants that will. Probably salvias will thrive no matter what you do, and there are other plants that will do fine. But give them some food at the planting time and middle of the season. So again, if it is fruit trees, it's a different schedule. So, but we are talking about flowers today, so we'll just stick to that. So there are organic options, there are chemical options. See whichever way you want to go. I use Osmocote and Microlife for most of my plants, and you can also use Nutricolor. That's what landscapers use for bedding plants. Miracle Grow, I'm not a fan of it, so that's out there. So pruning. Once the plants get established, they need pruning for plant health, to encourage more branches, to encourage more blooms. So you need to prune them. Um, Late winter for us, maybe in February, if you see all these sticks, prune them a little bit. But keep in mind, some plants bloom or leaf on old branches. So you need to read up about the plant. Does it like camellias? Not camellias. Okay, I forget. But read up on the plant, clematis. So clematis blooms on old wood. So you need to figure that out before you prune it out. So if you prune out the old wood, you may not get any blooms this year. So again, once you do the initial pruning, then in midsummer for us, July, August, some plants start to get leggy. So you can prune them a little bit, give them a little haircut, and by when the weather cools down a little bit, they will perk up. So again, we talked about midsummer, early fall you can do. Rochelle, are there any questions?
Yes, can you provide additional information or be more specific about what you mean for low, medium, or high water for plants, for the different types of plants?
Okay, so some plants are like bog plants, so they like water more. But there are not many. Most of the plants, majority of the plants, both in earth kind and Texas superstars, require medium level of water, the two water signs. So there are several plants that are drought tolerant, so you can water them less. You have to look at I have to look at the website to see which are drought tolerant. Most of the plants are drought tolerant. Like Gomphrena, we'll talk about it when we come to the specific plants. Yeah, I'm going to talk about specific plants soon, so you will know little more during that time.
There was another question, but I believe you were answering it unless you want to add any information. But somebody said that they have high clay soil and all of their roses died last year and bulbs didn't come up. And so I said that you were answering their question now regarding the soil enrichment,
Yeah.
soil fertilizing, etc. So unless you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I do want to add a little bit to that. We all have clay soil. In Fort Bend County, in Houston, most of the places are compacted clay. So that's why the first advice we give is build raised beds. So if you raise the bed with good soil, say 10 to 12 inches, you're already giving the plant that initial boost to set down the roots instead of fighting with the clay. And once the plant establishes, it finds its way, the roots will find its way wherever they want to go. But raised beds are the answer to compact clay. And I already talked about acidic roses, definitely. You need to provide different soil. And so that I think that answers the question.
Yes. Back to the watering. Does low watering mean just water once a week?
Yeah, but It's not always once a week. When we have 100 degrees, even the low water will probably need more water. So you need to like eyeball it and see how it's going. There is unfortunately there's no just one rule for all seasons, because seasons change, the soil, the absorption of water, moisture by the soil changes. So the general rule for watering earth kind is water less frequently but more deeply. So, but you also need to see if you have a water runout. So, if you have a smart irrigation sprinkler system, then it will do the job for you. But and you can do graduated watering instead of watering like all the beds for 10 minutes in a stretch. You water this bed and then it'll go around and come back to that. So those are some of the things that you can utilize in your watering strategy.
Okay, thank you. That's all we have right now.
Okay. So spring, I already talked about spring. And one other thing I want to mention here is we always don't need to buy the plants, seedlings or plants from the nurseries. We also can start them from the seeds, especially annuals, and some of the perennials are very easy to start from seeds. So you can, but again, you have to plan. So if you want the plants to be out in ground, once the winter is over, you have to start them indoors, maybe in December or January, and that's a whole different talk, like how you start the seeds, what they need, and all those things. But that is something that you can keep in mind. So now let's talk about some of the plants. So larkspur, we see especially in spring, like in March, April timeframe, at places like Costco and nurseries like Enchanted, we see these beautiful delphiniums. Those are so pretty, but they will not do well here because it's too hot for them and not too cold enough for them. So this is our answer for delphiniums. Larkspur is very easy to grow, a Texas superstar, of course, and it reseeds. So I see larkspur in my garden like at various places now, and I'm happy that I see them because their flowers are so beautiful, and they come in purple, pink, and white. So, and Laura Bush petunia is also reseeds. It turns up, it's a perennial. It came back from every freeze for me. All these plants came back from every freeze. And silver and cherry petunia, tidal wave, they are great in hanging baskets as a spiller in containers. So they provide nice contrast. This is also a workhorse. You can plant it where you need to cover something or you need something to spread nicely, and the color is beautiful. And it has a long bloom time, like spring through fall, and it also a bee magnet. So if you have edible gardens, fruit trees, vegetables, plant this little closer to those so that the bees can help you pollinate. And this picture, the picture on the right hand is the one I took this morning. So my Belinda's dream is so full of flowers now. And this is also Earthkind Rose and Texas Superstar. It, I have had it for about 9 years now, and there's nothing I need to do for it. It doesn't get much disease, no black spots, and it blooms beautiful big flowers in spring and nicely fragrant. And in summer, it slows down a little bit. Fall, it picks up again. So this is a great beginner rose for anybody. So knockout roses, everybody knows, all the builders, contractors use the knockout roses, but we are also now getting something called rose rosette disease. It was found in Dallas a few years back. Now they're finding it in Fort Bend County. So it also called witch's broom. So the whole plant gets stunted, and you see new red growth with thorns. So knockout roses are more susceptible to it. So keep that in mind. when you're planting rose. Any rose, it can happen to any rose. And it is airborne. There's nothing in the soil. So it can also come through your landscaper's tools. So keep that also in mind. If you have roses, that's a whole different class again. So again, in the East Coast, we have lilacs, which are beautiful and fragrant. We can't have the fragrance, but we can have the same beauty here. This is a small tree for a small yard. And if people are in Sugarland, I'm sure they are everywhere, but in Sugarland, Costco did a wonderful job of landscaping with native plants, with Texas superstars, and they have this everywhere. And soon we will start seeing them in full bloom. So this is a great a small tree to have in your garden. And this is a spring combo that you can try in your garden beds, along your pathway. All these plants will, yes, come back. Okay, any questions on spring?
We have, hold on. There was a question about amending soil. It was answered in the comments to amend an example, expanded shale and compost, but for those who can't have raised beds, the best way to amend the soil.
Yeah, expanded shale works well. I think that's about it.
And another question was basically having an area in your yard, as an example they used was an AC unit that puddles water. It would be good to, it would be good to plant there to kind of seep up that water, good plants.
Yeah, like I said, a Turk's cap will be good because it's drought tolerant, and it may be that water may be enough for it. But there are also, if it is in full sun, you can do, these are not superstar plants, but you can also do Louisiana iris. So that will thrive in damp situations. I think soon they may be classified as superstars. Okay. Anything else?
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So now we are coming to summer, and again we have to plan. So planning is the recurring theme here. So if you want to have blooms in summer, you have to plan in spring. So either you plant them as saplings, or you can sow the seeds. So but in spring. So you need to see the plant label will also tell you bloom period. Like if it says like 60 days to bloom, 90 days to bloom, 180 days to bloom. So read the label carefully about the growing conditions, and then plan for summer. So I talked about the spring bulbs and how you need to plan for summer so that to hide those spring bulbs. So if you plan, you can still have those leaves growing, the bulbs growing, but you can have plants. Suppose you plant purple cornflower in front of the bulbs. So you have the nice tall plants with this beautiful flowers which hide this bulb foliage. So for summer, Angelonia is a great plant. It comes in purple, pink, and white. And people are familiar with pansies and snapdragons for late fall to winter. So these Angelonias work like snapdragons in summer. And again, they are about 18 inches to 24 inches. So you have to plan, maybe they'll be better in the middle of the bed. And in summer, late summer, like in August, if you see them leggy, again, cut them down a little bit, a few inches down, and give them food, that second or third round of food. And then in fall, again, they will be back to blooming. And pentas are, so one other thing I need to tell you, like here you see the name of the series, like Angelonia, there are many breeders, but Serena series is the one that's labeled as Texas Superstar. And same thing for pentas, but butterfly deep pink pentas are the Texas Superstars. And again, these are categorized as annuals in Superstar website, but they keep coming back most of the times. So periwinkle or vinca is it's a great workhorse. It definitely comes back for me. I see in my garden, in different places. And this also is great as both as a plant and also as a trailing plant. So you can use it in containers, you can use it in hanging baskets. It's a beautiful, it adds color quickly. This is one of my favorite plants. This has been in my garden for many years now. So trailing purple lantana, this is actually an edging plant because at the edge of the border it trails. So it's not really like long trailing, but it has that trailing habit. And in spring and summer, it has like real bright green leaves. And in fall, we have change of color. So they become bronze leaves and the flowers still are this pinkish purple. And I talked about salvias enough. I think I'm a fan of salvias. So, you cannot go wrong with salvias. They will multiply, they will attract pollinators, and they thrive in all kinds of soils. So Gomphrena again this is very drought resistant, tolerant, so it doesn't need much water. It is again great plant for summer when plants are suffering, this plant will still put on blooms. But I did see in some of my neighbors' houses, front yards, this seems to thrive also in part shade. So morning sun, afternoon shade also works for Gomphrena. And you can grow very easily from seed. So now we are coming to fall. Again, plan in early summer if you want to have fall, like if you want to have zinnias, you have to plant the seeds in summer. So you also can propagate plants very easily with cuttings. So you can cut lantanas, angelonias, vincas, alternantheras, coleus, and pansies and put them in water, and they will root in a few days. So you will have multiplied your plants. And this is one beautiful plant. It's a beautiful baby blue color. And I have seen in my neighborhood, the HOA has planted it on the side of the street in full sun, and it's doing well. It came back from the freeze every year. And this is a great light blue color, which you can pair with red salvias or contrast with something or vincas in the front, pink vincas. So it'll be beautiful. And this is one of multi-purpose plant because in midsummer it'll start flowering with these long panicles of purple flowers, and then these flowers will become this yellow like golden berries. So it looks really pretty and birds love these berries. You can also use them in your floral arrangements. So I love this plant. It can grow into a small tree. You can train it by trimming the bottom branches. You can train the bark up, or you can leave it as a weeping shrub. So, but it will grow like 5 to 6 feet if you let it grow. And then you need to put it in a corner or at the back of your bed. And this is a great plant for Texas, Esperanza, or it's also called yellow bells. It will give you that pop of color. It's like gold. That's why it's called gold star. And it will do very well in full sun and also part sun. And again, this one also you can train as a small tree. You can also plant it as a hedge, but this is not evergreen. This does die down. So if you're okay with that, you can plant it as a hedge. And this is again one of my most favorite plants. It's called hummingbird bush. So a couple of from 2 3 years, I stopped hanging the hummingbird feeders because I have enough flowers now that hummers like, and I still see them in my garden. So this is one of those. So this is how bright the green is in summer, late spring, like maybe May to August or September, and then the leaves turn bronze like this. So the flowers are still there, but the leaves are very interesting. So this will also grow into a big bush, big shrub. So give it space. You can also trim the outer branches to, if you just want to have the top to flower, you can trim off all the bottom branches. So it's up to you how you want it. And bees love it, hummingbirds love it. And this also is very hardy, and this year for the freeze it didn't even lose its leaves, so it stayed evergreen. And again, this also I have had it for many years, and it has nice tiny but many yellow flowers, and it's a small shrub, like maybe 3 4 feet height, and you can plant it anywhere. This also you can make it as a hedge, and if you are lucky, it will not lose leaves. But keep in mind, its nature is to be deciduous if the temperature doesn't fall below 25. So, any questions on fall?
No questions right now.
Okay, now we come to the winter season, which is challenge for many people. So we think that, oh, it's November, it's December, it's January, nothing will grow in my garden. But that's not true. So there is a strategy for winter. Your garden is definitely not dead. So add anchor plants, camellias, my favorite plants. Color fillers like pansies. Pansies are winter. Even after, they actually can take snow and freeze, and they will come back. If it goes down to teens, they will still come back. And structure plants, evergreens. So there are several evergreens that you can grow, hollies and boxwoods and all those things. So these are the things. But the evergreens don't bloom, but camellias bloom and pansies bloom. And there are other plants. We'll see what those are. So this is in front of one house where they had pansies in the dead of winter. And these will stay till spring. And fall zinnias will continue into winter, and they may revive in early spring. So this possum holly again is a winter interest. During summer and fall, it has leaves, and then it loses the leaves, and then it has this beautiful pop of color with the red berries. But I think it has thorns, so you may want to plant it in the back of your garden. So this is something that is not used much, and it should be used a lot more. Ligularia or tractor seed plant. I have it in my front yard. I have it in my backyard. It likes morning sun and afternoon shade. And our HOA has planted it under the trees, a big long bed, and they are thriving. And these bloom in winter. So they bloom in December and January, and the flowers are fragrant and again bee magnet. So the leaves are glossy green, and flowers and fragrance and pollinators, we can't ask for more. And after a few years, 2 3 years, it will start giving you babies. It doesn't multiply that fast, but after 5 6 years, I'm seeing more and more tiny plants coming up. So this is a great plant to have. And this is something that I invested in maybe 8 9 years ago. It was very expensive, I thought at that time, but I enjoyed this every winter. So I think I've got my money back and more than that. So this is called Hong Kong orchid tree, and this grows very fast. I don't have a big yard, but this tree makes its impact. It starts blooming in about November. It has this bright pink, big flowers, and the leaves are also very attractive, and it has light fragrance. It grows very quickly to 20, 30 feet in a year. If the freezes are like 25, 28, it starts losing its blooms. So, but you will get to enjoy if the freeze doesn't come till January, February, you still have a couple of months of blooms to enjoy. So it's a great small tree to have. And of course, I talked about camellias. Camellias are very, very good plants. They are very long-term plants. They in Japan they stay for 200, 300, 400 years, and they are mostly understory tree plants. That means you can plant them under the trees. So I have planted them under the oak trees, and some get more sun than the others, but they are all doing well. So they start blooming from November through April, depending on the variety. And there are some plants that are very unique and they actually have surprised me. So just by a whim, I went and bought this kangaroo paw and planted it. And on the right side, you can see this is after the freeze. I just covered it with the cardboard, and after the freeze, it still stayed, and it stayed for 3 years for me. So this is something very unique. And this is something also very unique, and most of us should try growing them. The nurseries you will find them are Nelson Water Gardens, Enchanted Forest, Caldwell, in our local area. And they are very cheap plants, like they are $2 each. They do need support, but they have beautiful color combinations, and surprisingly, they are coming back from freeze also. So try that. And uh, I will show you the calendar. So this is something I'm experimenting with, and you can try your hand with Alstroemeria. So this is a new breed that the breeder has bred for more summer hardy. Previously, it used to be only till zone 7. Now it is 7 to 10. This new series, which are called Inca series. And you might be very familiar with this because this is the most commonly sold plant in the flower bouquets, and it has a long vase life. So flowers will stay for a couple of weeks. So I planted 3 plants, I think, last year, and I see one of them has come back. But I think I also suspect that my landscaper might have pulled it out. So labeling is one more thing. We need to label the plants. So this is available online, and you can try that. It has long bloom time also. Very unique plant. So these are all freeze survivors. Most of the Texas superstars are freeze survivors. That's my personal experience. This is Purple Lantana and Belinda's Dream. This is another kind of salvia. There's a story, but I don't think we have time. And this actually is an evergreen. So it didn't even lose its leaves, it stayed evergreen. It is a wine, and it is very unique, very beautiful. It's called butterfly wine because these yellow flowers turn into, when they dry, they look like butterflies. And we talked about Hemelia. And Tangerine Beauty Cross Wine is a hummer magnet. Hummingbirds love it. And Althea is another thing that comes, one of the first plants to come after the freeze. So they are very hardy. So here you can see the calendar. January, I have camellias. February, where is February? February, I have daffodils. March is gerbera and Mexican flame vine. April, Laura Bush petunia, Belinda's dream. May, Henry Duelberg salvia and Julia Child rose. June, John Fanick phlox and Moy Grande hibiscus. And July, we have butterfly vine and blue days. August, Hamelia and Mexican petunia. September, Gomphrena and trailing lantana. October, fall zinnias, Duranta. November, fall mums and Hong Kong orchid. And no, November, fall mums and plumbago, and December, Hong Kong orchid, and Phalaenopsis orchid also is a Texas superstar plant because this is one of the easiest orchids to grow. So that also, orchids need daylight variation to bloom. So that's one of the things you can try. So this is the slide that I wanted you to take a picture because this shows what blooms in each month of the year. So there's no month that you will not have a bloom in your garden. If you follow all these rules, all these suggestions, recommendations, you can have blooming flowers throughout the year in your garden. So some of the nurseries, you can also take a picture of this, that sell native plants. Native plants are hardy to our area and they will come back. And most of the times they may also spread. And Texas Superstar retailers. And there are, if you want to get ideas, you can go to the public display gardens and see what they have. So there are a few more local nurseries to find these plants: Enchanted Gardens and Forest, Caldwell Nursery in Rosenberg. Lowe's actually also partners for Texas Superstar plants. They normally have a brown Texas A&M color brown, like dark brown. So they have these flowers, these plants in those brown pots, and it will say Texas Superstar. And plants for all seasons in the Heights. So all these nurseries also carry these plants.
Suma,
Yeah,
can I just add one thing?
yeah,
I was just going to say that HEB has now, I don't know if you've heard, HEB
yeah, I did.
has
Yeah,
partnered so they with the Texas Superstar plants. And so that's also a really good place to find them affordably, very affordably.
yeah, yeah,
And I just wanted to mention that just because it's
yeah.
easy and local and
Yeah, so HEB has been posting, but they have a few HEBs that are hosting these sales from Native Plant Society and Texas Superstar Plants, Master Gardeners. So these some of the sales are already over. They were over the weekend, 21st and 22nd, and I think this weekend also they may have, but not all HEBs. Only a few HEBs in Houston are hosting these sales. Native Plant Society also hosts sales, so you have lot of resources to buy these plants from. And please, like Rachel said, please take a scan this QR code and give us your survey, because if you tell us, okay, this is what we like, this is what we want more of, and these are the new topics that we would like to hear about, so that will give us more topics to work with, and it will also give you what you're looking for. So please do the survey. And thank you all for coming today and staying for the class.
thank
So
you.
now we have some time. You can unmute yourself and ask questions if you want. I'm going to unshare the presentation.
Okay, if anybody would like to unmute and ask Suma a question.
Suma, I have a quick request. Can you put your slide with the QR code back up?
Oh, okay.
Thank you. Oh, let me let people unmute. Give me a second. Okay, our participants can unmute themselves now to ask questions. Did we have any in the chat, Rochelle?
We had one regarding trees. I don't know if that's covered in we have other classes, but pollinators for different fruit trees, or maybe that would be a survey question that they were referring to. I would love to hear about pollinators for different fruit trees. So you could
Mm.
add that to our survey.
I don't have a question. I just want to thank Suma for this it's quite a revelation for people like me who have started home gardening not too long ago and learned so much about it. Thank you, Suma, for letting me know about this. And I'm looking forward to the next revelation. I'm going to be, I'm going to be following all your advice very carefully.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So-
Terry Pack has a question.
Hi, yes. I was wondering, when you're planting plants for successive bloom, like planting a plant in front of a bulb, example, how closely can you plant those plants?
So you just need to give enough space for the new plant, like the plant you're planting in the front. So you need to have that space, a little bit of space, not too much, because the idea is to cover the back plant, right? So maybe plant like 5 inches from the bulb foliage. You can also tie the foliage but leave it, so that way it will stay compact.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Nina, do you have a
Yes.
question?
Yes. So the hours for part sun and part shade.
Yeah.
So what are the specific hours
Okay.
for each?
Yeah. So full sun is basically like 6 hours of sun, and
Mhm.
part sun is about 3 hours.
Is it morning or evening? Because
Most of the times it's morning. Morning sun is not that like hot, so that should be enough. Morning sun should be enough.
so is morning sun considered part sun?
Yeah.
And then evening is considered part shade.
Evening shade, like evening sun, you mean?
No, so there's like some plants will say part sun and some plants will say part shade. So I planted some bushes that get sun in the morning and shade in the evening. So then are they in part sun in the morning time? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
So just to clarify on that, is part sun and part shade the same thing?
It's a nuance. So in my opinion, I think it is.
A lot of times you have to also check on your part of the yard that you're wanting to plant your plants in part shade, part sun. Like Suma said, it's kind of a nuance, but you can check to see where, because it also depends, right, Suma, like where your house is, where other trees are, where your particular yard may get the sun or the shade. So a lot of times you have to check when the sun is hitting on certain times. Would you say, Suma?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so there is a question about begonias. So can you ask me what exactly is your question? How about begonias? What?
Shobana, are you still here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Because you're covering quite a few plants, and begonias is one of the things I see frequently in Houston, and I actually keep buying it also. I was just wondering what your thoughts are because the calendar you covered and the Texas Superstar list didn't have it. I was
Yeah.
just wondering what your thoughts are on
Yeah,
that
so it's
particular
not a
plant.
it's not a Texas superstar plant, and begonias are mostly annuals, and
Uh-huh.
they have sun begonias and shade begonias. So mostly you use those plants to provide the color if you need a quick color. And since we don't have many choices for shade, begonias are one of the plants that would give you that option.
Okay, okay. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Suma, we have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a particular drench you recommend for rows of Sharons?
Drench? What do you
Are
mean?
you, Maricela, are you talking about water?
This would be a combination of a systemic drench, which would be fertilizer and for insects control.
Okay, so I don't use any combination like that. I mostly use Osmocote or Microlife as a fertilizer. And for hibiscus, since Althea is that family, I have the hibiscus fertilizer from the Houston Hibiscus Society. I use that. It's a water-soluble fertilizer. And for diseases, I mostly use diluted neem oil or horticultural oil spray, but not in hot weather.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, sure.
Sima, can you give examples of evergreens that are good for Texas?
So evergreens are not part of this talk because they are not blooming.
Okay.
But
Good point.
so I am not sure. Like I mentioned a few that are staying as evergreens, like Thryallis, and Mexican butterfly vine. But the blooming evergreens, azaleas are supposed to be evergreen, but I don't. They are very, very finicky. They need really specific soil and specific sun and shade and all that. So other than the regular evergreens like boxwoods or ligustrums or hollies, I'm not sure. I'm not sure there are many blooming evergreens.
Question, how do you decide on sun and water needs after reading the labels on nursery plants?
How do you decide the sun and, sorry?
The question, how do you decide on sun and water needs after reading the labels on nursery plants?
So, nursery, I don't have a tag here. So generally it would say full sun, part shade, etc. And it will also say, if it says full sun, and depends, like the definitions change because we have such harsh summers. So if it says full sun and if you are looking at summer, you have to water more frequently than normal. So you can get away with watering twice a week. Again, like I mentioned, less frequently, more deeply, but avoid water running, wasting water. So in full summer, sometimes I do run my beds, my flower beds, especially daily basis. So you need to keep the seasons in mind.
Also, the
Hi,
soap.
Sima. Thanks for the session. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just going to add the soak and cycling method for
Yeah,
watering.
yeah.
If you Google that or look that up, that's also very helpful for all the different types of plants and watering.
Yeah, so that's what I was struggling to remember when I was talking about watering.
Right.
So I had a long explanation without saying soak and cycle. Thank you, Rachel.
Sorry, yeah, we
So-
just had our watering class a few
Okay.
weeks ago.
So soak and cycle is mostly like I have a smart sprinkler system, and actually, if you live in city of Sugarland, they give these systems for discount because city of Sugarland is very high on water conservation. They give you rain barrels, they give you sprinkler systems, and they give you free water audit, irrigation audit. So you just have to go, I hope they still do. I got it done a couple of times. So you just go to their website and fill out the form for irrigation audit. They will come, they will do the inspection. They'll give you notes of which sprinkler heads need to be replaced, whether you need to change the sprinkler heads based on the vegetation you have, all those things. So please use these resources. Our city is giving us resources, so please use them. I don't know about other cities if they have. So if you have a sprinkler system that has soak and cycle built into it, it will water the entire zones 1 minute, and then 1 or 2 minutes, and come back and do another 2 minutes, if based on how much time you want it to water. So it will not water the entire time in one go. That's when you have the water running. So you can use the
Cycle.
soak and cycle. Thank you.
You're welcome. And essentially, I have this problem too in my yard, especially when if your soil is dry, and if you water your plants, you'll probably notice that the water just runs right off because it's so dry. So the soak and the cycle, even if you're doing it by hand with your hose, if you water and then stop and let it drain in, and then water again and stop and let it drain in, that's kind of like the hand way of doing the soak and cycle too, so that it's not just running off. Just trying to give a visual.
Yeah. So the other thing is mulch is a great thing that aids in retaining the moisture. So especially like try to mulch it late spring, or if you're doing it now, that's fine. In summer, it'll come to use.
Another question, do the plant tags accurately reflect the weather conditions in our area, since the tags are for a large area of Texas?
Yeah, so most of the times the tags will say, if it is a perennial, it will say which zones. So it will say zone 7 to 9. Then you can more or less accept that it's talking about your zone. But it doesn't hurt to do your research.
Nina has a question.
Yes, could you please give the information again about who we would contact for the sprinkler system to come out and be evaluated?
Yeah, it is City of Sugarland.
Oh,
Yeah, if you live in Sugarland. I don't know
yes.
if Missouri City does it, but Sugarland has that, what it's called, irrigation audit.
Irrigation.
Audit.
Okay, audit. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just called the City of Sugarland and ask them for that?
Yeah,
Oh,
there is
it
a
is.
form that you fill out
Okay, okay.
online.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure.
Siba, there was a comment about, I guess, regarding the evergreens that you were talking about, abelias.
Yeah, so abelias are also a great plant to have. There are a lot of abelias like Rose Creek, Canyon Creek, Lemon Zest. So they are all very, very good plants. They are not evergreen. They can stay evergreen if the temperatures don't fall below 30. But they also have, many of them have flowers which are loved by the bees. So that's one of my favorite plants, actually. I planted in many of my clients' landscapes. They are very, very, very nice plants.
Nina, did you have another question, or is the hand just still up?
Somebody
Okay.
else had a question.
Somebody
Yeah, hi.
else?
Hi, Suma. I have a question on pollinators for my apricot tree. It blooms around February and nothing is blooming in my yard.
Yeah,
Okay.
so apricots, like, it's not part of this talk, but apricots in our area, there are very few that will actually are successful because it needs more chill hours. We don't have that many chill hours. Any fruit tree that you buy, make sure that it is under 300 to be sure that it will fruit. So depending on the variety you have, it may or may not fruit. But apricot can also be hand pollinated. You can check one of the YouTube videos on how to hand pollinate apricots.
Yeah, this year I hand pollinated them and frost came and it killed everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Any other questions?
Suma, we've got lots of positive comments in chat of people enjoying your presentation. I personally learned a lot, as I always do, watching what you have to say. It's kind of inspiring.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much.
Okay, if we have no more questions, we thank you so much for being here today. Also, please check out our other classes that we offer for our landscape presentation classes. And hopefully we will see, oh, sorry, Suma. Yes, hopefully we'll see
I
everyone.
just have one comment. A lot of people ask me about shade. So I have another class coming up on shade in June.
Yes, I posted the link in the chat too.
Okay.
I'll repost it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I posted that because I noticed too that there were a lot of
Yeah, okay.
questions about shade, so I posted it. And I
Okay.
will repost that right now
Okay,
because
thank
it's
you.
further
Thank you.
up. There we go. So that shade class is Friday, June 26th. And the link to join is in the chat. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suma. Always great to hear your presentations. I love them. Okay,
Thank you,
thank you,
Rochelle.
everybody, and hope to see you next month.